Hello, Ice here, Outer Wilds. It's time to look for an advanced warp core. Also, one realization that I wanted to say last time is the vessel was said to have like bonded with the Dark Bramble in some way. I forget the exact phrasing. If we bring the vessel to the Eye of the Universe, what's that gonna do? I'm concerned we may be destroying the universe with all this, is what I'm saying. But I mean, the universe is dying anyway. No real loss, right? Alright. So, advanced warp core inside Ash Twin. Doesn't it take like a whole cycle for us to actually see the inside of Ash Twin? Because it's covered in sand. Perhaps I should not have ended the previous video as soon as I did. Also, if I do have to wait until like the end of the cycle, that makes me more worried about time, not less. Okay, just double checking that it was Ash Twin and not Ember Twin. Yes, the Ash Twin project involves Ash Twin. Okay. Central chamber. Is there maybe a warp from Ember Twin to Ash Twin that goes to the center? Or from any other planet back to Ash Twin? I don't think I've seen any unaccounted for warps. Doesn't mean they don't exist. I haven't exactly been to the Sun Station very much. I could have missed something there. These go up. I guess if all the sand drains and I look around and I see the white end of a warp, then I'll at least know there is a warp that could allow getting here earlier. I can't imagine just grabbing the advanced warp core like gives it to us in future loops. Or I don't know, maybe our character learns how to repair warp cores and can make use of the one already in the vessel somehow. That would be convenient if this is something that takes all cycle. I've been in the base of these towers before. Oh, there's barely any gravity now. Okay, it just goes up. Wait, this isn't sand anymore. We got specks, and they aren't sand. Okay, so I'm gonna need to find the central chamber fast. Or I guess I've kind of determined you gotta warp in. But from where? Yeah, the music's already starting, and I haven't seen a way to the center yet. I mean, maybe it's about going down a tower, but I didn't think there were any downward paths. Oh, is there some shenanigan where, like, the Ash Twin tower has a warp back to Ash Twin? Because it's about aligning with the center or something? Is this Ash Twin or Ember Twin? Not quite sure how I'd determine that. Alright, well, simply waiting around for the sand to empty was a bust. Yeah, do both of those towers have a warp though? I guess maybe you warp from Hollow's lantern. Wait, where are the... There are the twins. Yes, the Whitehall Station. Central chamber inside Ash Twin was physically sealed off by an intensely thick protective shell. Might have been good to read that before I waited 22 minutes. Statue Workshop, Statue Island, High Energy Lab, Ash Twin Tower Designs. Oh. I bet I need to use the Twin Towers warp, but not at the first possible moment. Oh yeah, this double confirms that the protective shell is impenetrable. All right. Let's head back to the twins. Wait, it's near the sun. Where's the sun? There it is. So yeah, you don't need to be lined up with the receiver at all. And... Huh. I wonder how I'll tell, assuming it is, like, use the same warp tower and it goes to 2 different places depending on timing. I wonder how I tell when the timing switches. Fortunately, the Ash Twin power reveals pretty early. I'll get several chances at it. Like, it's the second tower after the sun. Okay, here's the equator. Guess I'll just follow this around for a while. I guess that's still been almost 8 minutes. Probably read this scroll. These both had a warp tower, it looks like. But I bet one of them doesn't work anymore. Alright. I bet the one with the cacti is Ember Twin, and I actually need this. I thought it would be a timing thing. Huh? Oh, did I pick the wrong one? I appear to not be in the inside of a planet. Or, I think I just ended up on the surface of Ash Twin. No, this is definitely Ember Twin. There's not sand. Thought the one with the cacti would be. Okay, but yeah, what about this warp then? It's gonna be right when the sand comes by, of course. But does this even still work? I mean, the bore's still here. If this does work, it almost feels like too easy a solution. I thought I once took cover here and just got pulled out by the sand column, though. Yeah. But it looks like the warp was available. Just the problem of not being there to warp anymore. How do I solve that? I guess... by waiting until... Ow. Waiting until the sand column actually leaves. You follow it through and... I think I am stuck here. Alright. Gotta wait again on the sand. Wait. What does doze off do? I see. I think I need to skip about 7 minutes. All right. So, might have been good to find out about that earlier in the game. It seemed like it would just have the same effect as meditate, but like I was early enough in the loop. I was like, I'll just try it. All right. There, the twins. It had to fire retro rockets before it finished aligning flight trajectory. Oh, I fell into the sun. Alright, didn't crash. And didn't fall into the sun. Okay, so it's this one. Am I in its path? Oh, I still got pulled up. And I didn't quite get in fast enough. Alright. Gonna refuel and re-oxygen. And I think try again starting from the sun's tower. Although wait, there's nowhere to like wait here. Well, this'll do for shelter. And then once it passes, we can boost to the top, run across the top, get down onto the bridge. Actually, wait. I can't open the door from this side. Never mind. Oh, it's coming. I'll be protected from the vacuum here. I guess if I need to be faster, I could try to get to the other side and open the door by coming here earlier in the cycle. Ooh. Oh, not all the way in. Oh, I gained quite a bit of height there. We're fine. Huh. So that didn't work. Do I literally just need to wait in the corner here? Or not here? Oh, wait. No part of this is actually directly overhead. Oh, you wait here. I guess you probably run in while the sand is still there, but if the warp is active, it grabs you first. It's just the sand normally grabs you slightly before the warp activates. And the sand is wide enough that you can't just wait for it to disappear entirely. All right. So our ship log updated. That's cool. Oh, it's this place. 15 minutes, 24 seconds ago. Received data from previous cycles. Mask receiving data from probe tracking module, Giant's Deep memory statue, Timber Hearth memory statue. Yeah, that sounds right. 7 minutes until end of cycle transmission. Does there just need to be a projector here so that other places can project the area? Today we finished the excavation of Ash Twin. Here in this space we carved, we will craft our most ambitious project yet, the Ash Twin project, powerful enough to send information back in time. We've also finished relocating all subterranean plants we met while digging. We'll need to keep our eyes on how significantly we've altered the environment here. How far we've come since our experiments at the Higher Energy Lab. I still can hardly believe Ramey's hypothesis was true. Oak just sent the warp core for the final tower to us from the Black Hole Forge. Now Ash Twin can be connected with Giant's Deep, where Cassava is working with Avens to craft the orbital probe cannon, and where Phlox is sculpting the memory statues. Hypothesis. It was not by accident that the core of our warp tower was the last to be forged. Hypothesis. Our cores could have been forged faster if Cassava had interrupted my work less frequently to ask for updates. An important point is we are all connected through Ash Twin now, and that I'm no longer needed for mediating your disagreements. Our friends on Giant's Deep tested the orbital probe cannon today. Mallow tells me the cannon is doing well, and that Avens advocates for more launch power. If anyone can coax the maximum power from a device, Avens can. Sometimes I feel like I get weirdly stuck and my analog stick doesn't do anything. It might be just lag. I haven't dropped frames though, so that's good. Anyway, but then if anyone can go to device into exploding, that too is likely Avens. Perhaps I should check in with the orbital probe cannon crew in the interest of safety. Would it help to remind Avens that Mallow, his love, will be one of the Nomai aboard the cannon, or is Mallow part of the problem? Phlox and Daz finished the memory statues today, and they are truly remarkable. When the Ash Twin project succeeds, or in the event it fails, the memory statues will activate, allowing us to gather more data before we shut down the project. Pi and Idea have worked hard on the Sun Station, and it is at last complete. If everything goes as planned, this structure will prompt the Sun's explosion, which will in turn supply the power the Ash Twin project requires. Oh! I'm impressed by their mental fortitude. This was the project's most difficult task in more ways than one. So the sun exploding was intentional. We're nearly ready to activate the Ash Twin project. Here's what will happen. First, the Sun Station will receive the order to fire at the Sun, prompting it to explode. Using the energy from the resulting supernova, the Ash Twin project will send the order for the orbital probe cannon to fire back in time by 22 minutes. Exactly 22 minutes after these orders are received, the Sun Station will again trigger the supernova to send the probe data from this cannon's launch back in time. In total, each cycle created by the Ash Twin project will last precisely 22 minutes. We can end this cycle at will. These words are difficult to write. The Sun Station did not work. Suppose we redesign the Sun Station to generate power of that magnitude. A supernova is still our only viable option. Oh! I get why everything's happening now. Their manual trigger of the Sun Station didn't work. But now the sun is just naturally exploding, and the rest of the Ash project was still set up to run. And so that's why the cannon's firing now. Because the trigger for the cannon was noticing that the energy came in. Okay, I believe we can still find a way to create a supernova, my friend. Don't lose hope. Yeah, just wait 200,000 years or whatever. This is easier expressed than accomplished. You can wait for the sun to explode on its natural timeline if you prefer, Idea, but you'll need to find some way to halt our aging process. Well, accomplished one of those. However, this is the closest we have ever been. The Ash Twin project is theoretically sound. We were only unable to power it. Perhaps there is another way. Okay, so that also means I won't just be able to shut off the Ash Twin project to stop the sun from exploding, because it's the natural explosion. Anyway, we are halting our research into creating a supernova for this moment. A comet has newly arrived in the solar system and we're anxious to explore it. That's the ghost matter that killed everyone. It's been a very long time since we last explored somewhere new, so we're excited to welcome this comet. Imagine what knowledge might be gained there. About that. Oh boy, there's so much more reading. Let's not mess with this device for now. I've installed the masks inside the Ash Twin project, Phlox. They look beautiful, although I do feel as though I'm being observed. It's comforting to know the statues will not pair until the project succeeds. Otherwise, I imagine the experience would be hard to endure. Okay, that's also why the statues paired now, with us. Ideally, they'll only need to activate once the project succeeds as a safety measure. However, the statues will also activate in the event of equipment failure. They will? Why is that? If anything goes wrong with the Ash Twin project, the statues and their masks will make us aware of the situation and enable us to fix it. Otherwise, it would be possible for us to remain permanently unaware of the problem. I feel like I've read this before. Hadn't thought of that, what a profoundly horrific fate that would be. Maybe these are all things we've read elsewhere. My gratitude for the latest shipment. This should be the last we'll need for the Ash Twin project. Exciting news. Can I offer an extra set of eyes for the final check, specifically mine? I feel like I've read that little quip before. If my work here is complete, I'd be delighted to help. We'd be grateful if you would. The more eyes, the better, as the smallest flaw or opening in the shell that protects the Ash Twin project could lead to disaster. We finish the shell that seals off the central chamber. We'll check to ensure there are no longer any physical entrances. Rami and I will be checking the interior and then the exterior for cracks, our final safety check. I think part of that might have been new. Like one of the branches. Or maybe that's why I already had in my rumors log that it was impenetrable. I have good news. The advanced warp core is ready to be installed in the central chamber. No, it isn't. Yeah, we read this very recently. Everything well at the forge? Of course, durability could be improved. Ignore her. Don't worry, she's only nervous. All right. So what does this say? Artificial gravity control. I like gravity right now. I don't know what this does. I should probably read that before making... Uh-oh. You're about to access the core while the Ash Twin project is active. Removing the core will disable the Ash Twin project. I kind of need it active right now, because I don't think I have time to get all the way to the vessel. Oh, Disabling the artificial gravity control is a way to get back to the warp back point faster. Alright. Because, yeah, if I'm gonna do this, I'd like to do it the very first time the planets align. I think I'm too low on time to get to the vessel with the warp core. And I don't know the consequences of shutting down the Ash Twin project and then failing to... I mean, presumably it just loops again. Oh, I could have brought all the projection stones here, too, to look at stuff. Not quite sure how that would benefit me. Oh wow, I've been going for 59 minutes. Another long one. Wow, it sure is the Black Hole Forge area. Anyway, let's just read what our ship has to say about the situation. I guess I could very easily edit past the first, like, 20 minutes. Come to think of it, where I just manually waited for seeing if any part of the core was exposed. Alright. I'm surprised there was no achievement pop-up. Perhaps there's a mystery that I failed to discover entirely, so it's not on my list? That would be something. Yep. Removing the core will disable the Ash Twin project. Alright, so I guess next time I try to grab the core, get to the vessel, and enter the coordinates. See ya.